Welcome back to another FPL video, and Game Week 5 is done and dusted. And it's time for my Game Week 6 wildcard that I was talking about last week. Or is it? I'm still in two minds, and I'm actually leaning towards not doing it. I know I even did my transfer last week as a 1 week punt to wildcard this week. But I've actually looked at my team and looked at the wildcard team I would go for, and I'm just not sure it's much of an upgrade. There's obviously elements to it that would be an upgrade, and I will go through a wildcard draft in this video, but I'm just not sure it warrants the need for a wildcard this early on in the season. Anyway, I'll talk about the pros and cons throughout, but first let's go through my Game Week 5 team. Game Week 5 was actually the first week where I made some mistakes on who I benched. I had Raya in net, and I didn't want to double up on the Arsenal defence, as I knew they wouldn't keep a clean sheet. Raya actually still did okay. He came away with 4 points after making, I think it was 9 saves. But I'll definitely take that because it could have easily been a 2-pointer. And then because I didn't want to double up, and I thought surely you can't score 2 headers in 2 weeks, I benched Gabriel. Well, he went and scored another header, didn't he? So there we are. I'm still not overly annoyed at myself for putting him there, because his fixture was worse than the other players I had in. But it's just crazy how good Arsenal are from corners and the spaces Gabriel finds himself in the box. So we had 7 points on my bench while Pedro Porro conceded in the first minute of the bloody game to Brentford. But then Buemo was sticking it in the back of the net. He's a player I actually thought about bringing in last week as well. Tottenham did go on to win the game, which is exactly how I expected it to go. So if it wasn't for that first minute goal, he could have been alright, but he didn't get any attack in return, so finished on 2 points. Robertson also finished on 2 points after he didn't get any attacking returns and conceded to Newcastle. Newcastle still weren't very good though, and I'm still happy I chose him, but it was just a good break from Newcastle right at the start of the second half that Barnes put away. But just annoying that Robinson's been so close to clean sheets each week, but it's just getting nothing for it. And then finally in defence I had Konsa. So out of the 3, the one player I had in just for the clean sheet, as the other 2 were more attacking, was actually the only one that went on and scored. Unbelievable. I thought all hope was lost on Konsa, but he went and got his goal in the 88th minute and came away with a bonus point too, so finished on 9 points. Into midfield I had Eze, who didn't get anything against Man United as it finished 0-0. So he did get the clean sheet point, but nothing else. Smith Rowe scored again and got a bonus point, so he's looking like an absolute bargain for his 5.5 million starting price. He got another 8 points added. Rodgers was the one we'd all been waiting for points from, so finally he got a double assist, which took him to 3 bonus points, so he finished on 10. So finally the patience paid off, and he still played the full game, so his minutes are really, really good. Minte was the bad one, and I should have realised when he played midweek that he might not start at the weekend, and I should have played Chris Wood instead, but I didn't. I wanted Minte to stay on the bench, and that would mean that Chris Wood would actually come into my team, but unfortunately Minte came on for a 1-pointer, and Chris Wood stays on my bench with 8 points. He scored the penalty in that game, which was also a shock. It's usually Morgan Gibbs-White on penalties, but Wood took it and scored. So that makes Chris Wood a keep with not bad fixtures coming up if he's on penalties. Gibbs-White also then went and got sent off towards the end of the game. You'd be fuming if you owned him. But I now really like keeping hold of Chris Wood. Then finally in midfield I had Salah captained, with just the 1 assist against Bournemouth, so he finished on 12 points for me. Annoyingly, Haaland outscored him again with 9 points, so that would have been 18 points captained. Again, I still feel like it was the right decision as Salah had the easier fixture, but Haaland is just getting ridiculous. Another goal against Arsenal takes him to 10 goals in 5 games, and 100 goals scored for City, and I think it's 105 games. That matches Ronaldo's record, but it's just crazy for the Premier League. And then finally I had Vardy as a 1 week punt, but that didn't work out. Oh well, it's not the end of the world. I still think it was a good shout. Not everything is a bad decision just because it doesn't end the way we expected it. Anyway, that left me on a total points of 62 and a red arrow down to 64,866. It's not even too bad still, to be fair. The points are so close together that I expected to drop even more. Like, don't get me wrong, 62 is still a good week in my opinion, but a lot of people were getting higher scores. So to still be in the top 100k, I'm very pleased with that. Let's move on and have a quick look at what my wildcard would look like. So basically the players I would want to target bringing in are Trent, just because he looks amazing. Every week I don't have him, he's kind of ruining me and he looks very attacking. Why would I not add him in? I'd then be targeting the Forest defence as they've been really good so far, and then Greaves just because I actually quite like him. I've wanted an Ipswich player in for ages, and they've been decent defensively, and he does have some threat from set pieces. Plus he's only 4 million, so a 4 million player playing every week is a kind of a no-brainer. Then in midfield, I'd have to swap Salah for Saka for Arsenal's run of fixtures, and just to free up a bit of money. This is actually one of the reasons I've decided to not wildcard this week. I don't see a reason to get rid of Salah, and if I wildcard, I would have to bring in the players that I want. And then I'd bring in Mbeumo and Garnacho, as both Brentford and United have got good runs of fixtures. And Garnacho looks really good this season. I just wish I knew if he was nailed or not. What you will notice from the screenshot is that Mbeumo isn't coming up as a transfer for me. And you'll see that when I go through my team selection, but I have actually already confirmed a transfer of Minte out to Mbeumo in. It was a no-brainer for me as soon as Minte became a minutes risk. And then up front, that gives us the money to go from Vardy up to Solanke, with him scoring his first goal for Spurs. Tottenham don't actually have a bad run of fixtures either, and if Solanke can find the form he was in last season, then I'd really want him in my team. It does also leave 0.5 in the bank, so you could upgrade elsewhere, but just overall looking at the team, I do like it. It's very tempting as it fixes the issues I see in my current team, but I'm not sure it's going to outperform what I've already got, and in 5 weeks I might end up with more issues than I have now, so I'm leaning towards just not doing it. So if I don't use the wild card, let's have a look at what my GW6 Team Selection would look like. So in there I've obviously got Raya at home to Leicester, back to doubling up on the Arsenal defence with Gabriel because you just have to with the run of fixtures they have. And this could be the best of the lot, really. I'm expecting a clean sheet here, and then next to Gabriel I've got Concert away at Ipswich for Villa. And although I do expect Ipswich to score at home, there's still a decent chance of a clean sheet for Villa. And after Concert scored last week, he's earned the right to keep his spot in my team. And then finally for the defence, I've decided to go for Pedro Porro against Man United away, rather than Nottingham Forest away for Robinson. If I'm honest, I expect both United and Forest to score, but I think Tottenham have a bigger chance at a clean sheet, although it's minimal. But the main thing is that I think Porro is better going forward, and United is the type of team and game where he'll return against them. In midfield, I've got Eze away at Everton. I know Eze is still not getting as many returns as we want from him, but Everton could be one of the best games and chances at points for him all season, so I'm more than happy to have him in. I actually want to have more than one Palace player in, but then I've stuck with Smith Rowe away at Forest. I know I just said I expect Forest to score, but I also expect Fulham to score. Forest without Morgan Gibbs-White could struggle to control the game, as Smith Rowe has been playing so well that I'm happy for him to stay in the team. Rodgers finally got his first returns of the season, so hopefully that's him growing in confidence in front of goal and coming into even more form. Going away to Ipswich could be a good chance for him to carry on that momentum. And then we've got the new transfer in, Mbeumo at home to West Ham. His ownership's still only at 14.3% at the time of recording. I really expected it to be much higher, and I'm sure it will be before the deadline. He'll probably even rise in price even more, which is why I've done the transfer already. And then finally for midfield, we've got Mo Salah away at Wolves, who have conceded 14 goals already this season. So I'm really happy still having Salah in my team. I've even thought about captaining him again, but Haaland's just so good, and with how disappointed I've been with Newcastle, I can't really not captain Haaland. So Haaland is my captain for Game Week 6, and then next to him I've got Chris Wood at home to Fulham. Him being on penalties brings even more appeal to him, and I wouldn't be surprised if he also goes up in price soon. Then on my bench I've got Robinson first sub, with Vardy second sub against Arsenal, and Lewis Hall third sub against City. It's not the best bench, but I'm happy with Robinson coming on if anyone doesn't play, and then if for some reason I need to use two subs, then at least if Leicester do end up scoring against Arsenal, it's likely to be Vardy that gets it. I'm actually quite happy with the team, so that's why I'm about 90% sure now that I won't wildcard before the deadline. There would have to be some major injury news for me to change my mind, I think. If you did enjoy the video, make sure to like and subscribe. Good luck for those of you on wildcard for Game Week 6. Hopefully we get another green arrow this week, and I'll see you in the next one.